Shalom, bruchim habaim. Welcome to this video. So, this is the week of Pesach. So, if you're celebrating Pesach, Chag Sameach. I cannot yet say something to you who are celebrating Easter because it's coming in 3 days. But I want also you to get prepared. In this video, we are going to talk about verbs and nouns which help you to talk about Pesach and Pascha. Okay, let's start. In this video, we are going to answer the question, what do we celebrate on Pesach and what do we celebrate on Easter? And we are going to do that in Hebrew. So the question is, מה אנחנו חוגגים בפסח? And here you see, we celebrate. אנחנו חוגגים. And the second question in Hebrew is then, מה אנחנו חוגגים בפסחה? The most important verb of any of those holidays is לחגוג, to celebrate. As you can see here, the lamed in front and the vav between the second and the third letter, this is what turns the root into a pa'al infinitive. And now I will also give you the conjugation of the present tense, which is חוגג, חוגגת, חוגגים, חוגגות. And now we read together the answer. Don't worry, it looks very overwhelming, but we are doing this together. So here we start. פסח הוא אחד החגים המרכזיים והמשמעותיים ביהדות. פסח מציין את יציאת בני ישראל מהעבדות במצרים לחירות לפני אלפי שנים, כפי שמתואר בספר שמות שבמקרא. Okay, so this is the answer, but we want to know what are the most important verbs and words that you need to talk about these two holidays. And this is based on this text here. So, most important verb from my point of view is lacet, to go out in the sense of leaving, but you can also use it to go out with friends. Lacet. Here again, lamet and tav in this case mark the pa'al infinitive, but what does that mean then? Is the root only consisting of two letters? Well, no, the root is yud, tzadik, aleph. But this is only a rule in pa'al. If you're very new to Hebrew verbs, I highly recommend you have a look into my book where I very clearly state what Hebrew verbs are about. And there's also a workbook. But if you are already more into Hebrew verbs and you want to master them without looking things up and really be fluent and switch between active, passive, and all of that, and all the verbs around the roots, well, then you are well prepared for my course where I teach exactly that. Now, back to the video. Here I have for you the conjugation of lacet, which is yotze, yotzet, yotzim, yotzot. And in my opinion, the most important word of this text we have just read is cherut, freedom, liberty. So this was all about Pesach. But what about Easter? This was our second question. מה אנחנו חוגגים בפסחא? So here we have a very similar text. And here we are reading, בפסחא חוגגים הנוצרים את תחייתו של ישו. לפי הברית החדשה, ישו קם לתחייה מן המתים לאחר שנצלב. Okay, what are the most important verbs for this holiday, Easter? One is לקום, I think this is actually the most important, lakum, to get up. And here, lamed in front, and the root. In this case, this is pa'al. Well, hey, we have this several times in the Hebrew verbs, but here it is pa'al. And why it is pa'al? Because there is a vav on the second root position, and that means you only put a lamed in front and you do not add another vav, which you would normally do when you make a pa'al infinitive, where you put lamed in front, vav between the second and the third. But no, we already have a vav, so we do not add another one. For this, I also have the conjugation table for you. Kam, kama, kamim, kamot. Well, now that I think about it, I think I should add another verb. So basically, we have two super important verbs here. Lehitzalev, to be crucified. And here you see lehi, this is typical nif'al, and then you add the root. So the conjugation is nitzlav, nitzlevet, nitzlavim, nitzlavot. And this is to be crucified. So it is passive voice. And this is where you need nif'al. If you find the passive voice in a nif'al verb, because there are also a couple of nif'al verbs that are active, but if you come across one where it is clearly expressing the passive voice, then there is normally also an active verb in pa'al, which in this case would be to crucify, leads love. So we are going from lehitzalev, to be crucified, nif'al, to crucify, pa'al. And this change here, this back and forth, this is a great example of what I teach in my course, so that you immediately you see it. There's no even a question. You see, lehitzalev, oh yeah, sure, pa'al then must be litzlov. Okay, for the sake of completeness, here the conjugation. Solev, solevet, solvim, solvot. Now, before we come to the end, what is the most important word, the most important noun to talk about Pascha? Techia, resurrection. Okay, we have finally come to an end. I hope you liked it. And whatever you celebrate, I want to wish you Chag Sameach. And I see you in the next video. Shalom.